Hi. I'd just like to talk to you today about the subject of comparing ourselves to other people and how detrimental that can be to our ambition or chasing after our dreams or getting any of the success that we desire. So many of us, what we tend to do is we put our dreams on a back burner because we're so afraid that if we try and do something that we love to do, that we will not be able to do it, that we won't be able to find that strength inside of us to be able to cope. And I think what the reason for this is many of the times is because we're trying to compare ourselves with so many different people around us. And that tends to give us a very limited view of who we are and what we're able to do. And when you are comparing yourself to somebody who's been on a completely different journey, what tends to happen is your mind starts to tell you that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that they're always going to be doing things better than you, that there is no way that you can get these things done. And what you need to remember is that this is very much like a 10k race or a marathon. And I say 10k because I've entered a 10k race, and I always remember thinking, what will anybody else think of how fast I go, or how I look when I'm running, and what will they think about my attire? What are they going to think about if I'm last? What if I end up last? And I had all these crazy thoughts just before I entered into this race. And when I was actually running the race, something quite incredible happened, because I realized that nobody was actually looking at me. I stood there in the crowd. They were all interested in what they were doing. The other runners in the race were all working out, their little routines and getting themselves prepped for their race. And the funny thing about being in any kind of race, 5k, 10k, anything like that, is that these people have personal records that they'd like to achieve, but they're never actually trying to compete with you. Most of them are trying to compete with themselves. So they're so busy wondering what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and trying to work out their own techniques. They've been busy with their own training. They've been busy getting their attire right for them. And they actually don't care about what you're doing. And this became very interesting to me because I realized as I was running the race that I was surrounded by people who were all in the same boat as me. They were all doing the best that they could do with all the skills that they had. They were all going to run as fast as they could within the race that day. They all wanted to do their best, and they were all competing for one reason: themselves. Nobody was looking at me, and nobody was trying to compare, and I wasn't trying to compare myself. And that became quite interesting for me because I saw parallels in how life and running a race of any kind becomes very similar. When you look at the two, when you're running the race of life, most people are interested in their life. They're interested in how they can achieve their dreams. And they actually don't care about what you're doing. They have no worries about what you actually do or say or anything like that. And if they do, it's something to do with something going on inside of them. And the comparisons are so similar because when you actually stand there in a race, you realize that many people actually support you. No matter how fast or slow you're going, they're supporting you just for being there. So you find this as you kind of enter life and you start to tell people about your dream and you start to talk about it a little bit more, and you start to see that people actually support you. Most of the people that are around you are not trying to compete with you. They're not trying to go faster than you. It's not about that. It's actually about us all running our own race and doing well wherever we want to go. So I think comparing and competing often has a negative impact on us because we think we have to be a certain way to please a certain group of people that we have become used to pleasing. And this actually causes us to generally stray away from our dreams and not able to actually go for them. Because imagine if you're running in this race now, and you're running and you're getting it on and you're going quite fast and you're doing really well, and all of a sudden somebody flies past you, and then somebody else flies past you, and you're running and then you keep looking up and you're like, they've gone past, and you become so interested in what they're doing, you end up making mistakes, you end up going slower, you end up becoming demotivated. And then you start looking behind you and you start thinking, okay, is there someone behind? And you're running and you think, wait a minute, he's coming up quite close, this one. Now, as you're doing that, you're slowing down. You're actually disheartened and you become more, you find that the race is less enjoyable. Now, the truth is that some people train for longer. Some people run faster. Some people just have been doing this their whole lives, and it could be your very first day. Now, you can't compare yourself with someone who has been running for 10 years when you've been doing it for 10 weeks. So this is the difficulty, is this is what we do in life. We look around and we're like, wait a second, that person's going a lot faster than me. This person's right behind me. They're going to catch up. I better start running really fast. And we start panicking. We start thinking, oh, I've got to do more with my time. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to get this done. I've got to get that done. And we start to panic. And that panic actually makes us overthink and actually stops us from achieving our dream because it causes fear. And fear is one of the greatest killers of a dream. So what I'd like to kind of see if I can get you to do really is try not to look around in life. Try not to look behind you and see who's coming up behind you. Try not to watch those people who fly by and panic as soon as they do. Try not to keep focusing on everyone around you and just focus on you. Just think, okay, my last time was this and it's gone faster. And 30 seconds faster, because even if you're only 30 seconds faster, that is an improvement, and it's your improvement that you're looking for. It's not whether you can compete with somebody who's done it for 10 years. And this is what we get wrong, people. This is how we lose our own acceptance, because we start to think that we are not worthy because we're not as good as the people who have done it for a lot longer than we have. So I just like, if I can leave that one thing with you today, don't compare yourself with people outside. Try to focus on your inner peace and just keep enjoying what you're doing, because what you're doing is enough. Thank you.